Hi, everyone. Welcome to GameGorgon.
Gorgon.
My name is
It's
Indigo.
Gorgon, and today we're going to talk to you about the Aldori Duelist where we're just stabbing people.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to GameGorgon. My name's Indigo.
And I'm Krug.
And today we're talking about the Aldori Duelist.
I'm going to say something that I didn't tell you I was going to say. Sometimes when we talk about swords, you do this thing where you're like, haha. I don't know why. I really don't know why. But it gives me shivers sometimes.
It gives, like, as in, like, you are excited from it? Or?
See, that's why I didn't want to say this. I don't know. I think it looks cool. But also, like, I don't mean to offend you. There's no reason for it to me to think it looks cool. It just is just like, haha.
Well, now we did it at the same time, so now you get double shivers.
Ooh, I might edit that part out. Normally we skip over the flavor text of the things because we could just talk about it ourselves. But I want to quote the flavor text for the Aldori Duelist because there's a word that is funny. I'm just going to skip down to the part where it says, one day you hope to demonstrate your skill at swordplay in order to become acknowledged as a true sword lord.
You're an edge-lording sword lord. It's a dumb...
It's Sword Lord. It's like Star Lord's cool, Edge Lord is and then like Sword Lord, I can't tell if it's in between those two or like below it.
I think it's just super nerdy.
Yeah, it's too much.
Now, to get into this, you have some prerequisites before you can actually even take the dedication feat.
Right.
So the first one is that you have to be trained in Aldori dueling swords.
Right.
Which in itself is already a little, like, difficult.
Yes, because it is an advanced weapon.
Yeah.
And it's difficult if you're not a fighter to gain proficiency with advanced weapons, with any advanced weapons. You can either be a fighter, right, and then you'll get there, or a human that takes a feat that gives you a general feat.
It increases what weapons you're, weapon school.
So you get simple to martial and martial to advanced.
Yeah, now mind you, if you already are choosing a class that has martial proficiency.
Right, you would not need
You wouldn't need to do both. But as, like, for example, a rogue, which is
kind of class that would probably be
a duelist.
A duelist, yeah.
A fighter would as well, I would say.
Yeah, of course.
If that's the route you want to go, it's going to require like a little bit of either additional time and have to wait until level 4, or you're going to have to be a human.
Exactly. You might agree with this, but I feel like dedication feats are best taken at lower levels, and when you get to higher levels, it feels a bit wrong because you're getting very powerful class feats at that point. So if you're going back to like a level 2 thing, it feels a little bit weird. So I'm going to be, when I play somebody who takes dedication feats early, most of the time, unless I have a super good reason not to. That might not be your mindset, and you might just be like, yeah, I'll wait till level 14, who cares? And then you'll be good. You'll be able to get there by level 14 as anything.
Say you want to take multiple dedication feats, like, or dedication, like, well, feats, archetypes.
Yeah.
Because of the ruling behind how many dedication or additional feats within that archetype you have to take, it pushes if you want to dip into another one further down the line.
Sure.
And it just makes
Unless you're a human.
Yeah.
So it's basically dedication feats are better for humans.
Yeah, basically. The other prerequisite is that you have to have access to the Broken Lands region.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't think that that's terribly hard because that could be easily written in your backstory.
Yeah,
like
or
as
just
character.
This prerequisite honestly can just be ignored.
Yes.
Effectively.
Yes, I think that if you're homebrewing,
yes.
Guess what? The Broken Lands isn't a place in your world because...
Then you can ignore the Broken Lands requirement. Or you can even replace it with literally any other location in your world.
Let's find out what you get.
Ooh.
You can either be trained in acrobatics or athletics.
Nice.
You also become trained in dueling lore. Before we get into dueling lore, if you are already trained in one or the other, you become an expert. Now, let's make fun of dueling lore.
What is dueling lore? What do you learn? Like, in what situation? And to just, like, head off my stupidity, I understand full well that as I make this complaint, somebody is, like, poised at their keyboard with, like, 40 good ideas about what to use dueling lore for. I can't see any of them right now.
I can't see dueling lore being helpful in a generic game.
Yes.
In a very specific game, I can see.
Because, like, think warfare lore. Like, warfare lore you can extrapolate out into a lot of different things that have to do with violence. Dueling lore is like, okay, I'm in a combat encounter and I've been ambushed, and literally the only thing that dueling lore can do for me is like, oh, you broke the rules of dueling, and then I get shot in the side of the head with an arrow. Because nobody in that situation cares about the rules of dueling.
I'm kind of confused by that one.
Yep.
The other thing is that if your proficiency in any other style of weapon, so simple martial weapons, if those increase, your proficiency with the Aldori dueling swords also increases with it.
That's good.
Yeah, so if you're going up in simple or martial,
You don't have to continually invest in the weapon that embodies this archetype.
exactly.
Thank God. One of your feat options at level 4 is Aldori Parry. This is basically going to give you a +2 to your AC for the cost of 1 action until the start of your next turn, as long as you are wielding an Aldori dueling sword in one hand and you have an empty other hand.
Okay.
Which, like, that's entirely reasonable. Other caveat here is that if at any point between the time that you activate this and the time that it would normally expire, you stop meeting those requirements, so like you pick something up, or like when it's not your turn someone disarms you, you lose the benefits because you can't parry something without the sword in your hand.
Kind of the equivalent of raising your shield.
It is, yeah.
It also doesn't have health, though, like your sword.
That's true. You can't break the sword.
Well,
I mean, you can break the sword, but there's not like a built-in. Well, there kind of is a set of mechanics for it.
Not the same way that shield is, though.
No,
Your shield
you're
is
right.
like a default, this is how it works, versus the sword.
The sword, you'd kind of have to extrapolate off of the shield rules. Like, at the same time, if you parried another sword with your sword, I wouldn't say that your sword takes damage, unless the other sword is, like, way better of a material, you know?
I don't think it's the same thing.
Yeah, I
because
don't think it's the
literally
same thing
a
either.
shield is going up and is taking physical damage.
Yeah, whereas a parry is like, you're not just absorbing the impact of the blow, you're redirecting it with your talent.
Exactly.
I get that.
Your other 4th level choice is going to be the Duelists Edge. Now, this is a free action, but there is a trigger. You have to be able to see another opponent and initiative gets started.
Yeah.
And you can still see them.
Yeah.
If that is the case, you get a +2 circumstance bonuses to that triggering initiative. And you get to just basically say your sword's out.
Yeah, you get to draw you get to interact and draw your sword immediately.
Yeah, for free.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
Now, of course, there's caveats to that. Like, if you're tied down. Like,
sure, of course. This isn't
like, I've got my sword down! It doesn't teleport.
You don't
No.
get that, actually.
In most circumstances, you're just like, da, da, da. Oh, fight! It's already out. Like, you don't need to worry about, like, spending an action on your turn to interact with your weapon.
Like, it's good. It's not the most, like, you know, obscure or, like, creative feature in the world, but it's super useful and the flavor's awesome. So, like, I like it a bunch.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, being able to go first, I think, is very important, especially if you're a rogue. I think that's the key. Being able to go first is super beneficial because if you get to go first, because it just says a +2 circumstance bonus on the triggering initiative. It doesn't specifically say perception.
Right.
So, like with a rogue, if you use deception or stealth as your initiative because you're hiding and or lying to someone, this is beneficial because you're going to be able to go first.
Right.
And that means that all your opponents are considered to be flat-footed until they go.
Yep, I get that.
So I think this is a very good feat for the rogue.
It's just you have to build into it. At level 6, you get access to the reaction Aldori Riposte.
Okay.
This is going to basically allow you to, when an opponent critically fails, strike against you, you can either make a melee strike against them or use the disarm action, not disarm them for free. Disarm them using your Aldori dueling sword. No matter what it is that you're doing, you have to be using the Aldori dueling sword. As a requirement for this, you have to be benefiting from Aldori Parry during the time that the opponent critically fails.
Gotcha.
So you have to have used that on your turn.
You've also have to have taken that feat.
Yes, you also have to have taken that feat, and then you have to have used that on your turn, and then they have to critically fail. That sounds like a lot, I think, but I don't think that an Aldori duelist would not be using Aldori Parry at the end of all of their turns.
Yeah, instead of a second attack, or a third attack, I mean, like, you're giving up that third attack, but you're gaining significant benefits from it. If you want to go a little less defensive, you can go the Unnerving Prowess feat, which is also 6th level, also free action, also has a prerequisite that you have to have the Aldori Duelist dedication feat, which, you know.
They all do.
Yeah, if you critically succeed at a strike or disarming of using your Aldori Duelist sword, I'm done saying that, by the way.
You can just say your sword.
Your sword. You actually get to have a free demoralized attempt against that enemy. It also doesn't have to be auditory, and you don't have any penalties if they don't understand your language or any of that other stuff, like that Demoralize has.
Yeah, because they're basically afraid of the fact that you just them up.
My rogue that I built, actually, I took the Your Next feat, which is very similar to this. If I kill someone and drop them down to 0, I get to, as a reaction, look at another enemy and demoralize them. You're next.
Yeah.
Like, I like this. This is really fun.
Yeah.
This
will be a nice thing to add to your character. No?
I mean, I like this if I was going the duelist route. I don't think that this is a very strong direction for the character that I'm building.
Right.
I feel that this is a very you class and not a very me class. Not necessarily taking action, but like being
reactions.
Exactly.
It's about the setup. It's about getting the person into a position where they critically fail and then taking advantage of that. And
I do think it's interesting. I just don't think it's my play style.
Yeah, I get that. And we're going to talk about your character a little bit more in depth when we talk about the archetype that you will be taking, which is something from this,
it's the
Oh, I was going to leave it as a suspenseful thing.
Well, you can just bleep it.
I can. At level 10, you get Jesus.
And by get, you can take.
That's true. At level 10, you can take Saving Slash, which is a reaction.
Okay.
And doesn't have any fancy prerequisites aside from you need the dedication
feat.
Whatever. It's triggered by an opponent critically striking you.
Okay.
When that happens, you can make a DC 16 flat check. Okay. That means you had no proficiency, no modifiers, no nothing.
Just a flat.
Just a flat. You just roll a d20, and if it's a 16 or above, you succeed.
Okay.
If you succeed, that strike that critically succeeded just becomes a success now.
So you have a 25% chance to just negate any critical success against you.
Yes. That is...
It's specifically melee though, right? Like it's not range.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's It's not like hey, they critically succeeded this will save. Like,
no, sorry if I wasn't clear.
No. I probably wasn't paying attention.
It's a melee strike. It's not a melee spell attack. It's just a melee strike against you. Strike has a very specific definition. I think it's not OP by any means. It sounds like astonishingly good. It is good, though. Getting critically hit, and trust me, if anybody can explain to you how much getting critically hit sucks, Krug can. Go watch Court of Corvids. Getting critically hit blows. This is, especially at level 10, when, like, I'm imagining that this stuff will suck more and more and more. Really good.
Yeah.
Just a 25% chance to shrug off all of that damage, unless you have a means of becoming immune to critical hits. And then this immediately becomes irrelevant. You have to plan this out in your build to make sure that you don't make it irrelevant as you build your character further and further.
The prerequisites kind of suck for it, like having the uncommon weapon.
Sure, I agree with that.
I think that kind of makes this a less accessible class or a less accessible archetype for players.
And we've actually had this discussion way before during the playtest when we were talking about archetypes. Oh, we want them to be more accessible. And a lot of people said like, oh, well, that's the whole point, is that you have to like strive for them in the story. I'm not on that team.
Well, I'm okay for them to be like striving story-wise. Like, for example, like have access to a specific zone in the world. I can say my character has heard about this area, and I want to take an adventure out there because I want to learn this style of fighting. That could be a fun storyline. It's not fun to be like, well, I have to metagame to be able to make my character do this.
There's that, but there's also something against the like region part of the thing, is that like, what if your group doesn't want to go to that region, or what if your group like has another thing that they want to do? I don't like the idea of having my specific character choice potentially tie the group into a story that they don't necessarily want to be told. I don't like it when you take the mechanics and the like story elements of the game and like inextricably link them in such a way that the mechanics are in control of the story.
Sure.
I like the story to be its own thing to an extent. To an extent. Obviously, I don't like, no, these two things are completely separate and they should never touch one another. That's not what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
When they're inextricably linked and one of them is basically guiding the other, I can't, it just feels weird in most situations.
So the archetype that I want to go towards, I literally had to sit down and metagame the hell out of it just so that I could get to that at second level.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like not the funnest thing, because it's like, oh, I really want to play a Tiefling, which that book comes out on the October 16th. That is going to have that in there.
Yeah.
I can't play a Tiefling because by playing a Tiefling, it makes me so weak because I can't take that extra feat that it requires me to push that to a third level or a fourth level to be able to get this archetype, or I could retrain that and it's just like, it makes it messy, it makes it less fun.
Yeah. All I want is to play the character that makes me feel like the thing that I want to feel like. And I shouldn't have to work this hard to do that.
The other archetypes that exist in the core book, I don't feel are as difficult for prerequisites.
Not even close.
They're just like, hey, you have to have a stat at this level, which I think is super easy to do.
And super reasonable given the context. Like, if you are playing a caster, you do need a specific, like, if you don't have that stat at that level, you're going to take this and you're not going to enjoy it because you're not going to be able to use the things.
Those make sense and are more beneficial
Yes.
and aren't as difficult.
And that's going back to what I was saying before, mechanics controlling mechanics. Like, I need a strength of 18 to pick this thing that is strong. Cool, that makes sense. But I need to be from this region of bodybuilders in order to be this kind of bodybuilder. Like, I don't care about that. I just want to be that kind of bodybuilder.
I get that they can't just make stats as the base marker for archetypes.
Right.
And maybe there might be some archetypes that are significantly stronger than others that you basically get forced to be pushed later unless you super metagame and really hyper-focus this specific aspect of your character.
Yep.
But I don't feel that this is that.
Correct. This is not, I mean, not saying it's weak.
No.
But it's not especially strong relative to anything else that's available by any stretch of the imagination.
Exactly. Especially because it's like, oh, I could take a sorcerer or wizard archetype and gain shield and be able to every round just spend an action and cast shield on me. Like, it gives me the same thing as the parry.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There's just...
And then there's also the infinite versatility of now you have casting. So, where are you going to go from there? Let us know down in the comments what you guys think. Is this, like, justifiable, the prerequisites for this class? Or do you think that maybe it could use a little bit of lightning? Either way, the benefit is that you can just do whatever you want at your table. It's your table. While you're down there, hit the like button if you liked the video. Hit the subscribe button if you want to help our channel grow big and strong, like a nice big old cold glass of milk. And hit the bell icon if you want to receive notifications about literally every single video that we upload on this channel, regardless of its length or its subject matter or anything else. No variables will affect when you get a notification. If you think that's going to be really annoying, which it probably will be, don't hit the bell icon. And then head over to Twitter and talk to us over there. You can talk to me at QueueTimes.
You can talk to me on Twitter at IndigoQT, or you can talk to us at all of the following social medias right here. There's a link to Patreon, which a lot of you have been joining. Thank you for doing that. I love it. There's also a Discord, which is hopping constantly. Now, it's not here, but it is below us. There is a link to the merch store.
Ooh.
Hey, link for the merch in the store in the description, or whatever that YouTuber says.
Link merch in bio?
Yeah, link merch in bio. Yeah.
I just wanted to, just as a quick little advertisement for our merch, these cups are spill proof, you see? You can't spill.
Krug, we just got sued by 10 people for
no!
false advertising.
The cup's empty! We'll see you guys next time.